Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down something huge: South Korea's industrial budget for 2026. We're talking about a multi-trillion won bet that's all about reshaping the country's future. And believe me, this isn't just some boring budget document. It's a full-on blueprint for technological dominance. All right, so let's get right into it. Now, all the info we're looking at today comes straight from the source, the official press release from South Korea's Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy. We're going to go through their own words to really get what's behind these numbers and this massive strategy. And here's the headline number. Get ready for this. Nearly 9.5 trillion won. I mean, just to put that into perspective for you, that's over 7 billion US dollars. And that's all dedicated to just 1 year of supercharging the country's industrial engine. It's a staggering amount of money.
But it's not just the total amount, it's the increase that's really turning heads. We're talking about an 18.8% jump from the year before. Now, a jump that big, that's not business as usual. That's a huge signal of intent. They are seriously pushing to get ahead of the competition.
So, the big question is, where's all this cash going? Well, here's how we're going to break it down. First, the big picture blueprint. Then we'll look at their huge bet on AI, their plan to dominate key industries, how they're securing supply chains, and finally, a push to boost regional growth. And at the end, we'll tie it all together. Okay, first up, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. You have to understand, this isn't just about throwing more money at problems. Nope. This is a super calculated plan to deal with all the economic uncertainty out there and make sure South Korea stays a leader in the industries of the future. And this is their roadmap right here. It's built around these 5 key areas. And the cool thing is, each one is meant to support the others, creating this really comprehensive strategy for the whole country. It's like they're building a powerful new engine for the future. All right, now we get to what is honestly the most dramatic part of this whole budget. They are making a massive bet on what they call AX. That's short for AI transformation. The idea here is simple but huge. Get artificial intelligence into every single part of the nation's industry. And just look at the scale of this increase. It's just, wow. Funding for AI has pretty much doubled in a single year. It jumped from about 565 billion won to over 1 trillion won. That's a 93% increase. I mean, they are quite literally doubling down on the AI revolution.
So, okay, a ton of money. But the really crucial part is how they're spending it. This isn't just some abstract pie-in-the-sky research. They're targeting 3 very real-world areas. You've got AI factories to make manufacturing way smarter, physical AI, think humanoid robots for actual tasks, and of course, the next-gen AI chips to power the whole shebang.
And a really key piece of this whole puzzle is something called on-device AI. So what's that? Well, instead of your phone having to talk to some far-off cloud server, the AI is built right into the device itself, your phone, your car, whatever. This makes everything way faster, more responsive, and a lot more secure, and that's a huge focus for them.
And all this investment in AI, it flows right into their next big idea, creating what the government is calling a super gap. And the goal here isn't just to compete, oh no. The goal is to create such a massive technological lead that nobody can catch up, to become totally dominant.
And how are they going to do it? By pumping over 1.7 trillion won into these key industries. That's another huge jump, up 34% from last year. It's all about making sure they own the technologies that are going to define the next decade or two. So for semiconductors, a huge focus is on something called advanced packaging. The best way to think about it is like building 3D skyscrapers for chips. You stack everything vertically to cram way more power into a tiny space. Plus, they're funding these mini fabs to help smaller companies get their new designs out the door much, much faster. And this whole super gap strategy goes way beyond just chips. We're talking about custom-tailored medical treatments in biotech, ships that can literally sail themselves, and new kinds of high-performance batteries that could totally change the game for EVs.
Okay, so you can have all the amazing high-tech industries in the world, right? But if your supply chain is weak, you're vulnerable. And in today's kind of chaotic world, that's a huge risk. So that brings us to the next big part of their plan, building resilience from the ground up.
And they're putting almost 2 trillion won into this. The plan has a few parts. First, they're encouraging companies to produce key materials right there at home. Second, They're helping them find new partners overseas so they're not relying on just one country. And third, and this is super interesting, they're building a whole new industry around recycling critical minerals from old batteries. The goal is to hit a 20% recycling rate by 2030.
Now, this whole ambitious plan isn't just about the capital city, Seoul. A really critical part of this is making sure the growth and innovation is spread out across the entire country, lifting up all the different regions.
So they're investing almost 900 billion won here. Part of that is for modernizing old industrial parks, bringing in AI and better infrastructure. But then there's this really incredible idea, building brand new RE100 industrial parks. And these are designed from day one to run completely on renewable energy. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so we've gone through all 5 pillars of the plan. So what's the big takeaway? When you boil it all down, what does this massive 9.4 trillion won budget tell us about South Korea's #1 priority? Well, the answer is right here in the numbers. Look at this. More than half of the entire budget, we're talking over 5.2 trillion won, is going purely to research and development, R&D. So this isn't about just keeping things running. This is a direct investment in literally inventing the future. And this quote from the government's own press release really just says it all. They call this an aggressive investment meant to overcome our industry's crisis and leap forward. So for them, innovation isn't just a nice to have, it's a national necessity. So this all leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. When a country makes such a massive, focused bet on the future, on AI, on semiconductors, on next-gen tech, what happens next? The question really isn't just if it will pay off for South Korea, but how it's going to change the game for the rest of us.